This is Confessions Uncensored Podcast, episode number 3. Welcome to Confessions Uncensored Podcast, where confessions are no longer dirty little secrets. I am your host, Keithra Morley, and I know what it is to have my deepest, darkest secrets torment me, but I've managed to confess to free myself. Now, I want to inspire others out there to let go of their confessions and share their truth. Are you ready to confess? I thought you were. Let's get started. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Confessions Uncensored. Today we have Chantea Williams on the podcast. She is here to talk to us about going from a statistic to a success. In this episode, Chantea talked about her journey as a teenage mom, how she discovered her purpose, and how she is helping other teen moms in her community. Chantea M. Williams is a chef, author, speaker, and mentor who loves encouraging the people of God to become greater through the Word of God. Through her gifts, God created the Greater Working Women Ministries. They strive to encourage, empower, and equip women from all walks of life to live out their God-given purpose with holy boldness. So let's dive into today's episode. So good night, Chantea, and welcome to Confessions Uncensored Podcast. Thanks for being our guest tonight. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Awesome. So I read your formal bio for our listeners, but tell us, who is Chantea Williams?
Oh my gosh. Who am I? I am a mother. I am actually a minister, a speaker. I love to cook. My favorite color is purple.
Wow.
I'm just a down-to-earth girl.
Awesome. And I see you have so many things going on. But kind of take us back into what your confessions, what led you to be an author, a speaker, a mentor who loves encouraging the people of God. Tell us your days before you discovered your purpose.
Before I discovered my purpose, it was really, it's almost as if I really didn't have an identity, because I really didn't know who I was. I really didn't know, what I was supposed to be doing. So I was basically doing what, everything somebody said that, oh, you'll be good at doing this, or, oh, I think you should do that. And so that's what I did. And so before I realized what I was supposed to do, I just did what other people said that they thought I was good at. And that got tiring.
Yes, I know. So was there a series of events that led you to not having an identity, not knowing what your purpose was, or trying to do what everyone else said?
It was when I was younger. I was a teen mother at age 15. So all of my life, well, the majority of my life, I had to grow up really fast.
Yes.
And so when I got to the point, probably in my 20s, I realized that, I was more than just a mother, that was just a title, that there was still, me. There was still something in me that had to be fulfilled. There was still, a vision or a purpose for my life. And so once I realized that, hey, it's okay to live life, that it's okay to be more than just a mother, that's when I really started getting into trying new things and thinking about like, oh, I think I can do this. Like, I really enjoy doing this. And so, and that's how, I started my bakery, my catering company. That's how I started writing, how I started speaking, because there were things that I was already passionate about, but never thought about it outside, a mother type role. Yeah. And so once I realized that, hey, you still have an identity outside of motherhood, that there's still you, the you were before you became a mother, that person is still there. Yes. And so that's when I woke up and I realized, hey, you can do this. And so that's what I'm doing.
Okay, before I elaborate on, what it is to find your role outside of our titles as a wife, as a mom, because that's one of the seasons I'm in right now. I feel like there's so much more to just being a wife, just being a mom. It's like parts of me I want to discover, or things I want to do outside of those roles. Before we get into that, I want to kind of go back into when you said you became a teenage mom at the age of 15. Now listen, at the age of 15, we're just trying to I don't know, find out, what it is we like as teenagers, or we're trying to get in those cliques, or we're starting to think about the opposite sex. And so kind of take us back into that moment when you became a teenage mom. Like, how did you become a teenage mom at the age of 15?
There was lots of things that led to that. Growing up, we lived in a 2-parent household, and then when our family broke up and our parents got divorced, I was always a daddy's girl. So, when daddy left, I felt abandoned. Yes. And so I felt rejected. I felt like, okay, now there's somebody, he's not there. He was full-time military. So, military with TDY, he was out of the country. So, I'm like, okay, I need somebody to fill that role for me. And yes. So that's what I did. I found myself caught up in a relationship with a young boy. And before I knew it, it was like, oops, I'm pregnant, Yeah. And so, it just series of events that kind of led to that. You're trying to look for that love and try to fill that void that really can't be filled with another human being per se. Exactly. And so that's what happened to me.
Yeah, and now that you're talking about that, chills are running down, because I remember I was searching for that same thing. Like, I didn't grow up with my mother or my father, and I was trying to fill that void. Like you said, like only a parent can give a child. And, because of that, I became so promiscuous. I was searching for love, sleeping here and there. At one point, I didn't even want love, because I was like, I didn't feel love. My parents kind of loved me. Who out there could love me, So that's right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's so many, us women face so many similar situations and issues. And at the time, we feel like it's only us one going through these issues. But it's so good to talk to other women to, kind of understand how it is that they overcame those situations. So you have a brand new baby at the age of 15. Did you have to drop out of school? Like, what was life like after the birth of your baby? And is it a she, he?
Yes, I had a girl, and it was challenging. I didn't have to drop out of school. I still graduated high school on time. Okay. I still went to college, but it was difficult. I had to go to school. I was playing sports, and so there was automatic sports. I had to get a job. I worked, so I went to school. Then after school, I went to work. I still had homework to do. Then I still had a baby to care for, and so it was hard. My family was very supportive. That's good. Her other grandmother was very supportive. Her father really, wasn't there, but I had that other support system that helped me and made sure that I finished school and make sure I went to college. And so it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. It was just, you had to grow up really fast. There were a lot of things that, I could no longer do. There's no more being a teenager, because, when you do grown folk stuff, you got to be grown.
Yep. That's what I say. And we have a saying in the Bahamas is, you make your bed, you have to lie in it. And a lot of teenagers or young people need to understand that beforehand. You can have a baby and expect to still go out and leave your baby at home while you're partying or living your life. No, you have to have some type of consequence for your actions. So that was good that you had that support system. But
exactly,
when your parents found out you were pregnant, like, kind of walk us through that experience. Like, were you afraid to tell them? When you told them, what did they say? Like,
I was very afraid. Actually, that summer, I was with a relative, and so I was away from home, and so that summer I knew, and I was just scared and just in denial. And so when I came back from my summer vacation, I didn't say a word to anybody. I just kept going on like nothing was going on. I played softball. We had a softball tournament. I went and played ball. And they, literally, I was on a straight denial. And then when my mom found out, she was like, no more sports. Wow. No nothing. And so, it was devastating. It was a really hard blow, because you think about, you're doing your best to raise your children, and now your baby's going to have a baby. And it's just like, what in the world? It becomes another financial burden.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Okay, so that was kind of a little bit of your background. Okay, so I want you to tell me, kind of segueing into a different portion of the interview, but tell me, what is your life scripture quote or credo that motivates you during difficult times? What keeps you going? What keeps you inspired?
one of the things that keeps me truly inspired is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ, and just knowing, that, giving up is not an option. I've come too far in life to say, I'm going to give up now. It just doesn't add up to me, And so I just know that, even when things get difficult and things are looking kind of shady, it's like you have to keep pressing forward. You have to keep pressing forward. It's not always going to be this way. And so I've just kind of learned to not only give myself, pep talks, but I have people around me that will encourage me and say, hey, now I need you to get out that funk and let's get it going.
Yeah.
And that's what works for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. So what you're saying is having the right persons around you is essential for you to keep going and to keep motivated.
Exactly, especially as women, we cannot isolate ourselves. We can't, we can't be on our island and think, well, just let me be. No, you need your sisters. You need your sisters to encourage you, to laugh, to cry with you, to get angry with, to have fun with. You need that community. You need that support to help you, through this journey in life. I don't think we were ever created to be by ourselves. I believe that God created us to be relational. Yeah. And so you have to have those girlfriends. You have to, it's a necessity just so you can be sane.
Yeah.
You deal with enough crazy people, as kids, you need some people around you that can help you be sane.
I totally agree. But now let's think about, some of us don't intentionally isolate ourselves, but because of our past mistakes or our current situations, we tend to find ourselves alone because we are afraid to be judged. I know that's how I found myself, and even when I spoke up and released my confessions or talked about my confessions, I still was segregated because, hey, now I don't fit in this picture perfect world or, view of what the church is or what the church should be. So what advice could you give listeners out there, women or young girls out there who feels alone and know they need a community to push them and encourage them and motivate them? What advice can you give them into finding this supportive community and these supportive friends?
One of the things that I would definitely say is you have to give yourself room to make mistakes.
Yes. Yeah.
And I learned that the hard way. I used to beat myself up all the time because I had this thing that I had to be perfect.
Yeah.
I was the only one who thought I had to be perfect. Nobody else
right.
expected it of me, but I didn't realize that because I had put myself in this unrealistic box with these unrealistic expectations. And it was like, if you can't feed the expectations, you just don't need to give my life. But it's not about that. Give yourself room to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Understand that you're not going to get it right. And it's okay. Understand that it's okay to be different. Everybody doesn't have to be like you. Everybody doesn't have to look like you. Yeah. So you have to open yourself up and realize that we're all uniquely made and that not everybody, but there are people who are assigned to play roles in your life.
Yeah.
They come to encourage you. They come to teach you. They come to guide you. They come to give you wisdom. Yourself closed up, you lock all of that stuff out. And so give yourself room to breathe. Mm-hmm. Always be cautious. You can't let any and everybody in your circle and in your business, but understand that it's okay to mess up. Totally. The only person that wants you perfect is you. And it's unrealistic. So look in the mirror and say, you know what? You're not perfect and it's okay.
Yeah. So I agree with that. Agree. Just even preparing for the podcast, I was so hard on myself because I wanted everything to be perfect. So I can relate to that. You're trying to be perfect, but only you want trying to make yourself perfect. So I was like, I don't know if I want to launch this because I don't like how the intro sound. So I totally agree with that. We have, as women, we have to take it easy on ourselves. We have to stop beating ourselves up so much and give us space to make mistakes, like you say. Allow us to be humans. And I think we, especially as Black women, we put on this facade like we're superwoman, and that's when we crumble. That's why a lot of us are breaking under the pressure of stress or when we can't provide something for our kids because we're so macho all the time. So I can totally relate to that. Okay, so now we talked about, I don't know if that was one of the hardest challenges you faced, being a teenage mom. Was that one of the hardest challenges you faced, or you felt like you had another challenge that was very difficult?
No, that was probably it, because like we said earlier, as a teenager, you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And then so you added to the equation another human being that didn't ask to be here. Yeah. And now you have to figure out who both of you are. That's
the same exact thing I wrote in the book. I'm like, I have to take care of a baby, and I was like, but wait, I am a baby, so we got over that teenage mom stage. You went on to graduate high school, you went on to graduate from college. Kind of take us through that journey of, when you realize now, hey, I want to discover myself. I know what it is I want to do. Take us into the Chantea that evolved after that difficult situation.
And actually, it wasn't an easy journey, because for a long time I denied it. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be a person that spoke to other teen moms, because that meant I had to open up about my own story. Yeah. That meant I had to relive and retell it. And for a long time, I felt ashamed and guilty, even, when she would be in junior high and high school, and we would be somewhere out, and they'd be like, she doesn't look old enough to be your mom. She must have had you young. How old are you? And I can see them back in their head, and I'm thinking, gosh, I'm still having to go through this. And then I had to snap out of it. Yeah. Because at that time, if you have an issue, it's not my issue.
Yes.
Because I've already gone past that, because if you think about it, you're only a teen between 13 and 19.
Yes.
And once I really accepted and was like, you know what, you have to share your story, because there are other young mothers who are struggling.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't have the support that you had. A lot of them had to drop out of high school. A lot of them got kicked out of their house because their parents didn't know what to do. They're so frustrated, so angry, or so messed up that they didn't even want to think about it. A lot of them didn't have people to encourage them. So you have to be that voice.
Yeah.
So when I accepted that, I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then I just started doing little things. I'm still just doing little things until I get everything built up and get my nonprofit going. And so just little things, little things to try to encourage them.
So do you think you actually healed through telling your story?
Absolutely. Because I got it out. It's no longer held in.
Yeah.
The more you hold stuff in, the slowly you start to deteriorate. You start to release that stuff out. You realize somebody else needed to hear it, and you're not the only one.
Yes.
I don't care how old we get as women. The enemy always tries to make us think we're the only one, and we're not. You're not the only one. And so you're not the only one who thought that you weren't going to make it, or you thought that you were a bad mother. You're not the only one. And so when you tell your story, you not only help heal yourself, but you help heal somebody else, which is a lot more important.
I totally agree. And even what I realized in telling my story, I realized I didn't heal from it. I just was suffocating it, pushing it down. So I've never really dealt with all that anger and bitterness and unforgiveness I had. It wasn't until I told that story that I actually started to deal with those issues. So I totally agree that there's power in sharing your story.
Absolutely.
So the listener is listening right now, and they know they have these confessions that they've been holding on to for so long. What is the first step you think they can take into building that courage to share their story with others?
I think a lot of times we suppress our stories because we don't address it.
Yes.
A lot of times we're still in denial that something ever happened. Number one, sometimes we have to accept that it happened. Whether we played a part in it or not, we just have to be big girls and big women and say, you know what? It happened. Right? So that's the first thing you do, is accept that it happened. And then number two, understand that you're not the only one.
Yeah.
Little by little, start sharing your story. The more you share it, the more comfortable you'll get. And you'll be surprised how much you'll be able to exhale. and how much peace you will be in. I live in so much peace knowing that I no longer have to, kind of hide and duck and pretend like that part of my life is, oh, it was just this, and oh, it's done where God, God has healed me and delivered me. Yes. No, somebody needs to hear your journey.
Yeah. Oh my God.
They need to hear about the tough times. They need to hear about when your lights got cut off. They need to hear when you thought about taking your life. They need to hear when you were strung out. They need to hear that so they can see you now and be like, wow, look at you. I never would have thought that. Yeah. They need to hear and see that so they know that it's possible. Don't hold it in.
Listen, I feel you so much, because that's what I was saying. Like, no one is sharing the journey. We're only talking about the victory, the pretty picture at the end. Yeah, God saved me, but what did he save you from? What is it that you experienced? And I felt like no one was being honest and open. You just don't know. I'm just like, yeah, I'm excited you said that. Okay, so I know it's just, I don't think it's like, this is one of the reasons why I created the podcast, because I wanted to sit down and speak with other women who share the same similar point of views as I've shared. And like, I felt like no one around me was trying to tell the truth. Like, everyone was just trying to sugarcoat it. And it's time out for these cliches. We got to be open and honest if we're going to help deliver lives and help save lives. So I'm just completely, blown away by your transparency and like talking about your process. So that's very good. Okay, another question I want to ask is, what's the best way you believe we could develop belief in ourselves?
Is to know that you're important, to know that your life matters, to know one of the things that, I'm going to be sharing is for teen mothers, is to know that you're still somebody.
Yes.
Regardless of what other people think, regardless of what other people say, you're still somebody.
Yes.
And if you understand your self-worth and your self-value does not depend on the opinions of others,
yes,
you won't have any problem. And that's what it boils down to. We have so many insecurities as women, period, and we compare ourselves to one another, outside of our personal struggles and, battles and trials, but understand that you matter.
Yeah.
No matter what you've gone through, no matter what you're going through right now while you're listening, you matter. Yeah. You matter. You matter enough that somebody is waiting for you to share your story. That's how much you matter.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I believe a lot of us don't have that confidence in ourselves, to believe that we matter because we've made so much mistakes, or because of our current circumstances, or because we don't look like Susie down the road, and I'm glad you said that we compare ourselves so much, and as women, we have to stop doing that, because that has our judgment cloud up, so that's a good point. So not only do you seek to inspire teenage moms, but you also have a couple of projects going on for women also. And one of them is the Greater Women Project. Could you tell us a little bit what that is about?
Yes, I have a women's ministry called the Greater Working Women Ministry. And so what that is, we encourage, we empower, and we equip women for greater. And so no matter what walk of life you are, there's a purpose for your life. There's greater for your life. It doesn't matter what you have, what you don't have. It doesn't matter your social, economical status. It doesn't matter your family background. It doesn't matter what income bracket you're in. None of that matters, because everybody has a purpose. And so what we do is we try to encourage and empower women to walk in their purpose unapologetically. It doesn't matter about your past. It doesn't matter what you used to be or what you used to do. You still have a purpose.
Totally agree. And I notice you're an author also. Can you tell me a little bit about how you started that journey to becoming an author?
I did. And it's funny because I always had a desire to be an author, but I never thought that I would have the resources or the platform or just the ability to even write anything. And so a few years ago, I just made the decision, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And so at first I started out just sending, email devotions to women that I knew, just encouraging them. And then it turned into a blog. And then I took those blog posts and wrote 3 books out of them. And so it was very liberating for me. And I realized, there are a lot of women out there that are hurting who just need a word of encouragement.
Yes.
And some people may think, oh, that's nothing, but I've gotten so many emails and testimonies to say, man, you really encouraged me, or I really needed to hear that. Thank you so much. And so that right there just makes me excited to know that when I decided to walk in my purpose,
Yes.
I was able to help my sister. And that's what it's all about.
That's powerful. And I realize that too, they just want to hear that. They just want to hear one piece of inspiration or encouraging words to help them to keep on going, and as simple as posting on social media. I find, I just randomly post these encouraging words on Facebook, and, I didn't realize how powerful it was until I get messages in the inbox and say, sis, can you pray for me? I'm going through X, Y, and Z. And all anyone needs who's going through is someone to listen to them, to encourage them, to be there for them, so that I totally understand where you're coming from with that. So I noticed you wrote a book called There's a Jewel in You. Can you give us more details on the book?
Yes, I am so excited about that book. This is our first anthology that we were just blessed to coordinate. So we have 12 amazing women, including a Ford, where they are telling their stories of motherhood. So we all became mothers between the ages of 15 and 21. Okay. And so everybody's journey is different in how they became a mother. But our central theme is none of us gave up.
Okay.
And so I'm just so excited. That book releases September the 1st. And so I just cannot wait to get that book out. I'm just so
Okay, awesome. And that sounds like an amazing project. Just tell our listeners briefly what an anthology is, just in case they don't know.
Oh, okay. An anthology is a compilation of stories from different people that we come together and to make a book. And so what we did was we took all of our stories of our journey of how we became young mothers. Like, we didn't sugarcoat anything. We told the truth of our stories so that other teen mothers could know you're not alone. You're not going to stay this way, and you will come out. And hopefully, to prevent other young girls from becoming mothers. So all an anthology is a compilation of stories into one book.
Awesome. So we're getting ready to conclude the interview. And Chantea, I just want you to give the listeners your definition of faith. What is your definition of faith?
Faith is believing when you cannot see it.
Yes.
It's just point blank. If you can see it, it's not faith. But when I'm believing for something and I can't see it yet, and I'm still believing that it's going to happen, that's faith.
Totally agree. So our final question, I want you to leave one piece of advice. If I was a teenage mom coming to you right now, feeling hopeless, feeling broken, don't know which direction to go in, what would be the number one piece of advice you would give to me right now?
Right now, I would tell you that giving up is never an option. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how many ugly things people say and may do to you, you cannot give up, because when your child looks at you, they only see you.
Yeah.
They don't see what people call you. They don't see what people think about you. They see this wonderful person that looks after them. And so you just need to do the best you can, and everything's going to work out fine.
Yes. Love it. So I have truly understood why we've dubbed this episode From a Statistic to Success, because Chantea, you're a shining example of what it is to keep it moving in spite of whatever it is faced against you. So I just want you to tell the listeners where they can connect with you, your social media channels, or your website.
Wonderful. You can follow me on social media at Greater Women, Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope. You can go to the website, greaterwomen.com, or you can go to iamstillsomebody.com, which is the one for teen mothers. And so that is where you can follow us at. You can find out our latest projects and what's going on.
And guys, I will be listing all these links in the show notes provided on the website, so you could be able to have access to her and also just see what she's going on and to continue to just support her and also encourage her in her journey. And Chantea, I just want to say thank you so much for being one of our first guests on our podcast. And I just want to say, keep on shining, keep on inspiring and encouraging young women and women out there to keep it moving in spite of all odds stacked against them.
Thank you so much for having me. It has been a pleasure and an honor to be here with you.
Okay, have a great night.
You too.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Confessions Uncensored. If you like what you heard, be sure to share the podcast and also connect with me on social media at Confessions Uncensored or on the website at www.confessionsuncensored.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher Radio app. Until next time, be blessed. Thank you for listening to Confessions Uncensored Podcast at www.confessionsuncensored.com.